I have Tim with me from Wrench Science today. So Tim, tell me a little bit more about, Wrench Science. What do you guys do, and what are you guys all about?
We're an online bicycle business. We have a configurator where we allow people to build custom bikes, and we give them a running price and weight tally. We also have a industry-leading fit system, so we can get the customers right, or get the customers fit right.
Hmm.
And then, we basically build custom bikes for people and ship them wherever they are, and service them thereafter.
All right, thanks, Tim, for the introduction. So tell me a little bit more about how much your e-commerce side has grown since, we've been working for the last, 2 to 3 months together. And, what was it like previously?
We've gotten more. I think where we've gotten is a higher conversion rate, more completed orders. That's probably what I've noticed. We love what you're doing. Just as, the basis, right? We love
Hmm.
what you're doing.
Tell me a little bit about, where you guys were at before working on us and, what were some of the challenges you guys were facing, basically kind of figuring out the email marketing channel and, the time needed to invest.
I would say that, the biggest, you know, I think as a small business, your biggest thing is trying to find the right people to do the job. And, you know, if I'm again being completely frank here, uh, we just luckily found you. You came, out looking, and we've gone your direction. And like I said, we're real happy. I've done our SEO company that we hired. I just was searching for who's the best, world's best, national best. We ended up going with the world's best number one SEO company. When we looked, just we'd signed up for pay per click and social media, same thing, just looking who's the best. And, out of the top five, on a bunch of different ones, I interviewed them, ended up picking one, right? With you guys, I didn't go about it that way. You were, you came to me, and, if I'm being, like I said, completely frank, I mean, your stuff is like top tier. You're doing great. You know what I mean? And so, where I'm out, I found these other ones that are world class. What I'm seeing with you is luckily we found you. I think that with newsletter marketing, it's a little tricky. Like, as businesses, the standard is MailChimp, and I don't know what you can do with MailChimp, but clearly you can do a lot with Klaviyo, and the reason we moved to Klaviyo is because, I technically, I like seeing numbers, and, again, it's just like what I'm saying about how do you qualify where the funds are coming, but the more data you have, the more you can kind of figure that stuff out, to some
Hmm.
extent. And Klaviyo gives you a wealth of information, but it's so deep that you need someone like you with master level status, that can come in and like really start to take charge of it, really where I can really tell are the, basically online purchases, which I know has to do with the flows, and basically higher conversion rate, total orders, all that's, I know that that's related to that stuff. And so anyway, as this normal business, unless you really have someone that understands marketing and understands what Klaviyo can do, you just wouldn't know, right? But then we get
Hmm.
in and we see what you're doing, and it's like, that's a lot, it's so deep, what you're pulling out of it, which is great.
Hmm. Cool. And then I know you've kind of worked with other agencies in the past, having, other agencies work on different part of the businesses. So what do you think about, uh, our their experience versus, the experience that you might have with us? How's it been different?
I think your intake, even though it was a pain in the ass to do, I think was like exceptionally valuable, like, right? Like I was
Yeah.
cursing as I was going through it. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, Jesus, how many questions do I got to answer? But it was like a one, one and done. You
Mm-hmm.
just you put in the time, and then all of a sudden you guys are off and running. And it took some fine tuning a little bit at the beginning, just tweaking it, but really you now have all the info,
Oh yeah.
and you're taking advantage of it in every which way, which has been great, right? So
Mm-hmm.
most, I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, this world class people, they're doing that. There's
Mm-hmm.
intake forms where they're asking at that level. And that's what I just told you. You're operating at that level. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And that really does make the life for the retailer or the person you're doing that work for easier. It's painful
Mm-hmm.
going through the first part. You understand everything. You understand the
Yep.
vision, and you're off and running. And then it makes our lives much easier, and you're actually communicating a much better message. So really, it's just the level of professionalism you've brought to it, shows.
Mm-hmm.
It shows in the work you're doing.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
And kind of just the last question to wrap everything up, for anyone who's on the fence about working with us, what would you say to them?
I mean, I don't know anyone else's books or what they're doing, but uh, to know what they can afford. But it seems to me that, the email marketing is mission critical. And, it's, I did not really compare pricing out there to tell you where the value is or not, but it seems like what you're doing is worth what you're charging. Absolutely. I mean, you're putting in a lot of work. You're
Mm-hmm.
experimenting a ton. Try A/B testing left and right. Like when I look at the quantity of different things you're doing to test and continually like iterate and evolve. I mean, you're just on point making it happen. And it's not like get a check and you're gone, or set it up once and you're gone. Like you
Mm-hmm.
continually are tweaking, and us seeing that. I mean, obviously, certain things will find grooves that you'll run with, but um, just really is. Uh, I love seeing those iterations and improvements because you're just trying to be better and give a better service, and not
Exactly.
just sitting back on your laurels where you get one score and you're done. You're like, okay, keep improving, keep improving, keep improving, and man, that makes a business really happy. A business owner really happy, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would regret at least trying it with you. And I
Mm-hmm.
think as soon as they try it, they won't even think twice about it again. They're like, okay, I'm locked in,
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Tim.
Yep.
Awesome. So, I really appreciate your time today. And, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you, Tim.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. You have a good weekend.
All right, you too.